Look at your daily routine. You do not lack motivation, and you are not inherently lazy. You are simply trapped in a system that has successfully commoditized your biology. Social media platforms did not capture your attention by accident. They meticulously engineered an irresistible psychological loop of instant validation, variable rewards, and visual streaks that leaves your brain desperate for the next hit. Meanwhile, your deepest ambitions, your business, and your legacy are left starved because real-world execution feels slow and painful in comparison. The urgency is immediate. Every hour you spend trapped in this synthetic loop is an hour your real-world potential is being systematically neutralized. If you do not consciously hijack these exact same psychological triggers and apply them to your real daily labor, you will remain a permanent consumer in an empire built by someone else. Elite mastery belongs to the man who stops fighting his dopamine pathways and instead weaponizes them, turning the grinding friction of hard work into his ultimate, unshakable obsession. Many men believe they are failing because they lack the discipline to do the hard work required of them. The truth is, your problem is not laziness. It is a sophisticated, engineered misalignment of your brain's reward system. Modern digital media has been meticulously designed to hijack a man's natural drive to build, conquer, and provide. By flooding your biology with instant, effortless gratification through infinite scrolls, these platforms condition you to crave comfort over friction. When a man's dopamine pathways are constantly stimulated by a glass screen, the rugged, slow process of building a real-world legacy begins to feel exhausting. Reclaiming your focus requires you to understand that your internal biology has been weaponized against your ultimate purpose. True leadership is not about fighting an internal war against exhaustion, but about realigning your reward loops back toward tangible execution, allowing a man to willingly embrace the necessary daily grind. Men often fail to sustain hard work because they focus entirely on the massive, monolithic mountain they have to climb rather than the immediate step in front of them. When a goal feels too distant, your brain struggles to find the motivation to begin. Social media apps understand this perfectly. They do not ask you for a lifetime commitment. They simply demand that you keep a daily streak alive. By deconstructing your grandest visions into tiny, daily, non-negotiable actions, you shift your psychological focus from an overwhelming future to a manageable present. This creates an internal momentum where the desire to protect your progress outweighs the friction of the labor. Creating an unbroken psychological streak transforms the grueling nature of men's hard work into a game that your biology desperately wants to win. When you maintain a visual record of consistency, your mind inherently rejects breaking the chain. You no longer need massive willpower, you simply wake up to defend the streak. Relying on sheer willpower is a losing strategy when the environment around you is deliberately engineered to make you fail. Digital platforms succeed because they have removed every ounce of friction between your human impulse and their product. For a man to compete with this level of optimization, he must intentionally design a physical and digital workspace that traps his mind into immediate action. This means ruthlessly eliminating distractions before the day begins, placing the tools of your labor directly in your path. When you make the right choice, the easiest choice, the natural resistance to hard work dissolves. Designing an uncompromising environment ensures that execution becomes an automatic response rather than an exhausting daily negotiation. When a man has to expend mental energy just to fight off notifications or set up his tools, he has already lost the battle. True mastery is achieved by engineering a sanctuary where your purpose is highly visible and distractions are physically inaccessible. Digital media has successfully rewired how men perceive status by substituting real-world respect with synthetic online approval. Historically, a man's standing was earned through the visible weight of his labor and the tangible structures he built. Today, the algorithm tricks us into feeling accomplished through a vanity metric of likes and views that costs nothing to give and yields nothing of substance. This manufactured significance pacifies our natural competitive drive, making us content with looking important rather than doing the grinding work of becoming important. When a man anchors his self-worth to the fleeting applause of a digital crowd, his raw ambition is neutralized. Shifting your metric of status to real-world velocity is the only way to restore the true value of a man's hard work. You must stop counting the superficial opinions of strangers and start measuring the actual speed, momentum, and impact of your physical execution. True fulfillment comes when a man gamifies his daily progress, finding a deep biological reward in watching his empire grow. Hard work only feels like an exhausting chore when a man loses sight of the ultimate purpose in behind his sacrifice. Social media hooks us so effectively because it offers an immediate, effortless reason to engage. Real-world labor, however, demands that a man endure brutal friction and prolonged exhaustion without any guarantee of a quick reward. If you work only for a paycheck or out of sheer obligation, your mind will naturally choose the easy, synthetic dopamine of a digital screen every single time. To out-engineer the algorithm, a man must anchor his daily grinding to a deeply felt visionary cause that transcends the immediate discomfort. When your purpose is clear, the grueling friction ceases to be an obstacle and becomes the very truth that you are moving forward. Attaching a profound sense of purpose to your labor is what fundamentally transforms a grueling task into an inspiring obsession. When a man clearly understands how his current struggle serves the security of his family or the forder's creation of an enduring legacy, his internal biology shifts. Dopamine is no longer triggered by fleeting digital validation, but by the proud realization that he is actively conquering real-world challenges. This psychological alignment makes the hard work itself deeply addictive because every ounce of sweat feels profoundly meaningful. True dominance is never achieved by fighting your biology, but by understanding exactly how to weaponize it for your own purpose. For generations, a man's internal chemistry was hardwired to reward tangible victories, building shelter, overcoming physical adversaries, and securing a legacy. Digital media successfully hijacked this exact evolutionary machinery, redirecting a man's innate drive into an artificial loop of passive consumption and synthetic metrics. When you understand that the algorithm is simply using your own dopamine pathways to keep you first compliant, you realize that the ultimate rebellion is to take the controls back. Instead of allowing external systems to manipulate your neurochemistry for corporate profit, you must deliberately hook your brain's reward system to the grueling, beautiful friction of your own labor. Reclaiming your biological sovereignty transforms the very nature of a man's daily struggle from an exhausting obligation into an unshakable addiction. When a man systematically aligns his dopamine triggers with real-world progress, hard work stops feeling like a chore and begins to feel like a necessity. You begin to crave the deep focus, the physical sweat, and the mental grit of execution because your damage now associates the friction itself with a profound sense of achievement. This is how the most impactful leaders in history built empires. They didn't rely on fleeting motivation. They engineered their lives so that conquering massive challenges became their primary source of fulfillment. By ruthlessly redirecting your chemical drive away from the screen and toward your legacy, you stop reacting to a manufactured environment and start dictating the absolute trajectory of your life.